Hello, Radiant Leo. Do you ever feel like something big is coming, but you can't quite name it yet? Something stirs beneath the surface, like a silent drumbeat that only your soul can hear. If you clicked on this video, let me be very clear, this is not a coincidence. This is a divine alignment. And this message, it's not just another horoscope. It's a sacred transmission from the universe, and it's arriving at the perfect moment, the final days of this month, when destiny begins to stir. Because in the days ahead, Leo, three powerful forces are aligning in your field: a financial breakthrough, a symbolic funeral, and a spiritual marriage. One will bring you wealth. One will bring closure. And one will awaken a love so deep, it defies logic. But before you can receive any of it, you must be willing to let go of the version of yourself that thought survival was enough. Now let me ask you this: have you been feeling unusually tired lately, dreaming vividly, or catching yourself staring into space, unsure why you're emotional for no reason? That's not random. That's your soul preparing for a shift. An ancestral energy, perhaps a grandmother, a guardian, or a feminine spirit, is watching over you. She's been trying to reach you. And right now, she's whispering this truth through the cards, through this screen, and directly into your heart: don't fear what is ending. Because what's coming next is sacred. So before we go further, I want to invite you to ground into this moment. Gently place your hand over your heart, close your eyes if you feel safe to do so, and say to yourself out loud or silently: I am ready to receive the miracle the universe has set aside just for me. Because Leo, I believe you are. You didn't find this video randomly. You were called. And the energy coming toward you is extraordinary, but only if you are open to it. In this reading, we'll explore what this energetic funeral really means for your life, how money is magnetizing toward your field, and who is preparing to commit to your soul in a way you've never experienced before. But more than anything, this is a reminder: you are not powerless. You are not waiting for life to give you permission. You are the miracle, in motion. And if any part of this is resonating, even just a soft flutter in your chest, I want to ask you to do something simple but powerful. Leave a comment below and affirm: I hear the universe speaking. I'm ready for what's meant for me. This isn't for the algorithm. It's for you. Writing that intention declares it. And once you do, the path forward will become clearer, step by step. Before we dive in, allow me to take a moment to say this: I'm deeply grateful for your presence. Every like, every comment, every subscription helps us grow this beautiful spiritual family we call eternal mindfulness. You being here allows us to continue sharing these transformational messages with hearts like yours, and trust me, Leo, you're going to want to stay with me until the very last moment today, because what the universe is revealing is nothing short of spectacular. So tell me, what pulled you here today, my brave Leo? What part of your soul is waking up right now? Let's begin. Sometimes, the most profound turning points in life don't announce themselves with thunder. They arrive softly, like a shifting breeze, or a single moment that somehow feels heavier, more alive, more inevitable. And if you've made it to this part of the message, Leo, it means that subtle energy has already started to move through you. Something inside you knows a transformation is near. Not a surface-level change, but something core deep, one that will alter how you live, how you love, and how you welcome abundance. The first current moving toward you is one many desire but few are energetically prepared to receive: wealth. But this isn't just about numbers in a bank account or physical luxuries. True abundance arrives when there's inner readiness, when your energy stops resisting the good things that want to reach you. In the cards, the Ten of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and Wheel of Fortune together don't just signify money. They speak of legacy, long-term security, and the kind of prosperity that is born not from pushing or proving, but from a deep alignment between your values and your actions. You may have felt blocked financially in the past, perhaps giving more than you received, or working tirelessly with little to show for it. But what's arriving now isn't compensation for effort. It's the natural flowering of everything you've already planted in invisible soil: the kindness, the wisdom, the consistency that no one saw. The fortune will turns not because you chased it, but because you've finally stopped running from your own worth. But to step into this new flow, you must also honor what must be left behind. That is the second current, a symbolic funeral. And no, this isn't about physical death. This is about releasing something that has lingered too long, perhaps a role you've outgrown, a relationship that no longer mirrors your truth, or a story you've told yourself for years about what you're allowed to become. The Death card in tarot is often misunderstood, but its wisdom is quietly liberating. It invites you to consider, what are you still carrying that you've already outlived? Sometimes, we keep old pain close, not because we need it, but because it's familiar. But here's the gentle truth: nothing new can fully take root where you're still clinging to what no longer breathes. In ancient teachings, there is a saying that freedom comes not from controlling life, but from letting go of the tight grip around what must pass. This moment in your journey asks you to bow not in defeat, but in reverence to whatever is ending. Only then does space open for what wants to live. And then comes the most intimate of all three shifts, the emergence of soul-level connection. Not just romantic attachment, but a meeting of energies that feel destined. The Lovers, Four of Wands, and Two of Cups appear as signals that someone or something is entering your life to reflect a version of love that is not performative, not conditional, and not fleeting. This is not about someone completing you. It's about someone witnessing you, entirely. But for that to happen, Leo, you must first choose to witness yourself. Because deep love can only enter where we've stopped hiding our wounds and started embracing our whole selves, scars and all. This kind of union doesn't come when we chase it. It comes when we become it. When we live with the softness, the honesty, and the courage we want from another. This is the marriage of essence, the kind that transcends form, the kind that lasts beyond the body, the kind that many seek but few are willing to prepare for. So, if you've been sensing a deep goodbye and a wild beginning, if your body feels both tired and lit from within, you're not imagining things. This is your crossing. The universe doesn't tear things away to punish you. It clears the way so something truer can reach you. The question is, are you ready to stop watering what can no longer grow? Are you ready to open your palms, let the old fall, and say yes to what has always been meant for you? Feel free to write below and affirm it. Sometimes, declaring, "I'm ready," is the spark that awakens everything. Sometimes healing doesn't look like light streaming through the clouds or a sudden sense of peace. Sometimes it's quieter, more private, like the moment you realize you're no longer angry, or when you stop rehearsing a conversation you'll never have. It's subtle. It's slow. But it's real. And for you, Leo, this is that moment. You are being asked to walk forward, but not with everything you've carried. Because the magic ahead is real, but it requires space. And space only opens when we let go of what no longer serves the journey. That includes the old roles you've had to play, the pain no one apologized for, and the storylines that may have protected you once, but now only weigh you down. Astrologically, this makes sense. As the sun, your ruling force, prepares to shift, its light turns inward, illuminating not just your path forward but also the shadows you've avoided. And you may find yourself asking, why am I still holding this? Why does this still live in me, even when I've outgrown it? These questions aren't signs of regression. They're signs that your inner wisdom is waking up, asking you to do something radical, to stop waiting for closure from outside, and start creating it from within. There's a quiet, enduring wisdom that says suffering is prolonged not by what happened, but by our unwillingness to put it down. Pain, left unacknowledged, becomes identity. But pain, when finally witnessed, dissolves like mist in morning light. And in this phase, Leo, you're being invited to become the witness, not the warrior, not the performer, not the one who always keeps going. Just the quiet observer of what hurts, and the brave heart that says, I don't need this pain to prove anything anymore. One of the most healing practices I can offer you right now is deceptively simple: write a goodbye letter. Not to send, but to release. A letter to the person who couldn't love you fully. To the job that took more than it gave. To the part of you that kept surviving even when you longed to live. Let it be messy. Let it be honest. And then let it go. Burn it, tear it, bury it. The act of writing helps the nervous system release stored emotion, while the act of ritual makes space for the subconscious to finally exhale. This is not about forcing yourself to feel better. It's about being real and giving yourself permission to no longer carry what doesn't belong to you. Even the colors you surround yourself with can help you return to balance. Earthy orange and deep, burnt red colors tied to grounding and the root of your being are especially powerful now. They anchor you. They help repair the part of you that's been in survival mode, and they gently guide your heart back into trust. Wear them, meditate with them, place them around your home. Healing is not always about doing more. Often, it's about allowing more support into your field. You may also notice that certain relationships begin to shift or dissolve naturally. This isn't punishment, it's clarity. Sometimes the most loving act is walking away, not because you're angry, but because you've changed. True growth doesn't require an audience, but it does require honesty. And this kind of honesty, the kind that says, I love myself enough to stop performing, is what unlocks the deeper peace you've been craving. Letting go is not abandonment. It's an act of deep presence. When you release the weight of unspoken sorrow, you return to your center, and from there, everything real begins to grow. Not because you fought harder, but because you finally stopped fighting yourself. There's a quiet turning point that happens not when the world finally sees your light, but when you do. And Leo, this part of your journey is not about proving your worth, chasing approval, or trying to earn your place in someone else's vision. This chapter is about remembering. Remembering that your light was never meant to compete, only to radiate. And that radiance? It doesn't come from applause. It comes from alignment, when your soul, your truth, and your actions begin to walk together without conflict. You're stepping into a cycle of inner brilliance. The kind that doesn't need a spotlight to be seen. The Star, the Empress, and the High Priestess, three cards that when woven together, speak not of loud success, but of deep resonance. The Star brings clarity after chaos, a sense of healing that settles like gentle rain after a storm. The Empress invites you to soften into your natural abundance, not by forcing anything but by becoming receptive to what's already growing inside you. And the High Priestess, she's the quietest of them all, but the most powerful. She reminds you that intuition is not a hunch, it's a memory. A recognition of what your soul has always known. This is a time to trust that knowing. Even when logic tells you otherwise. Even when others can't yet see what you feel so strongly. Your inner guidance, that soft voice that speaks between thoughts, in dreams, in sudden clarity, is awakening. And it's not asking you to predict the future. It's asking you to come home to the present. To be still enough to hear what's already inside. If you're feeling called to slow down, to listen more, to turn inward, follow that. Begin each morning with one honest line in a journal. Not for performance, but for presence. Ask yourself, what feels alive in me today? And don't censor the answer. At night, try sitting with a candle or a soft light source. Focus not on what you need to change, but what you want to understand. This kind of intentional reflection builds a bridge between your surface mind and your deeper self. The more you listen, the louder the clarity becomes. Numerology brings more dimension to this phase. The number 3 reminds you of your creative force, not in doing more, but in expressing more truthfully. The number 7 asks you to pause and reflect before any major decision. It's the number of inner development, urging you to make space before taking action. And 11, a master number, often appears when you're at a gateway between one version of yourself and the next. Pay attention to these numbers in dates, time stamps, totals. They may be subtle, but their presence is part of a larger conversation between your awareness and the unfolding of your path. Through all of this, one principle remains: external validation is a fleeting fuel. It may ignite you for a moment, but it can't sustain your fire. What does? Self-recognition. The gentle but unwavering decision to see yourself clearly. To stop waiting for someone else to grant you permission to glow. Because the truth is, you've never needed permission. You've only needed to remember. When you root your worth in quiet clarity instead of loud approval, everything shifts. You stop asking, "Do they see me?" and start declaring, "I see myself." And from that place, the right people, opportunities, and paths begin to respond to your frequency, not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of light that cannot be ignored. This is not the brightness that blinds others into loving you. This is the glow that invites the right ones to meet you exactly where you are. Not because they need you to dim, but because they honor the way you've learned to shine from the inside out. There's a quiet kind of power that arises when you stop seeking permission, not because you've hardened, but because you've softened into yourself. This isn't the kind of strength that pushes or resists, it's the kind that simply is. It emerges when you choose, moment after moment, to honor your truth over your habits, your inner compass over external noise. And Leo, the energy surrounding you now is asking something simple but profound. Will you choose yourself not in ego, but in clarity? The appearance of the 9 of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Emperor together paints a picture of emotional fulfillment that is no longer dependent on how others see you, but on how well you see yourself. The Nine of Cups is often called the wish card, but it's more than that. It's about knowing what truly satisfies you, not what you were told should. The Ace of Cups represents emotional renewal, but only when you're willing to pour into your own cup first. And the Emperor, though firm, teaches structure, not rigidity, but boundaries rooted in self-respect. These three energies combined suggest a realignment, not just of priorities, but of identity. You may be used to saying, "I'm fine," even when you're exhausted. That reflex, that self-denial, it's not weakness. It's learned. But it's also outdated. Self-leadership begins when you stop pretending that what hurts doesn't matter. When you decide that your needs are not a burden. There's a concept that speaks to this deeply. If you carry something silently long enough, it begins to carry you. This is your invitation to set it down. And to stand up, not for drama, not for attention, but for integrity. Start small. Look at your finances not through the lens of lack, but through the lens of intention. Try crafting a 3-tiered budget: survival, what you must cover; growth, what helps you evolve, like classes, tools, therapy; and dream, what brings you joy and vision. Even allocating a symbolic amount to each layer begins the energetic shift. This isn't about how much money you have, it's about how you're choosing to steward it. In love, be mindful of who you stay with just because they're familiar. The comfort of history can be deceptive. It can masquerade as connection when it's really just inertia. Ask yourself, am I staying out of love, or out of fear of being alone? Love should feel like expansion, not containment. You deserve to be chosen, not because someone needs you, but because they see you and want to grow with you. And your body, that vessel that carries it all, has been whispering things, hasn't it? The tension in your shoulders, the interrupted sleep, the waves of fatigue that don't quite make sense, these are not random. They are signals. Honor them. Get your checkups. Stretch in the morning before your day begins. Let your breath lengthen slowly. Even 10 minutes of mindful movement a day is a sacred act of reconnection. You don't need to punish your body into strength. You need to listen to it into balance. Color can also support you in subtle but powerful ways. Green in all its forms supports autonomy and healing. Try wearing it, eating more of it: dark leafy greens, green tea, sitting in nature, or simply placing green stones or fabric in spaces where you reflect. Let green become your reminder: you're allowed to grow in your own direction. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's the most responsible thing you can do for everyone who depends on your energy, including your future self. Boundaries aren't walls. They are gates that remind the world, this is sacred space. And your life, Leo, is just that. Sacred. There comes a moment when you stop waiting for the crown to be placed on your head, not out of defiance, but out of realization that no one else was ever meant to carry that responsibility. For you, Leo, that moment is now. You're not here to audition for your own life anymore. This new cycle isn't asking you to hustle for validation. It's inviting you to return to your natural place at the center of your own orbit, not to dominate, but to radiate. The energy moving toward you is expansive. With the World, the Chariot, and the Three of Cups showing up in alignment, it's clear that what's opening now isn't just a new opportunity, but a shift in how you engage with the world around you. The world speaks of cycles completed, not just things ending, but being fulfilled. The Chariot asks, are you willing to move forward without dragging the past behind you? And the Three of Cups reminds you that joy and connection aren't luxuries, they're fuel. What's unfolding ahead may look like new work, surprising collaborations, invitations to show up in spaces you never imagined, but all of it is rooted in something deeper: your readiness to be seen, not for who you've been, but for who you've become. Often, when growth appears, it doesn't knock politely. It disrupts. It tests your willingness to make decisions from alignment, not habit. That's why now is a powerful time to pause and ask yourself, not, what do I want to achieve, but, how do I want to feel when I achieve it? Instead of creating goals that sound impressive, create goals that feel like home. Maybe it's peace instead of pressure. Maybe it's depth instead of applause. Maybe it's joy without guilt. Write it down, one sentence for each feeling you want to embody over the next 30 days. This isn't fluff. This is clarity. And clarity, once claimed, becomes a compass. If you begin noticing certain numbers repeating like 21, 30, or 6, don't overthink it. These numbers don't hold power over you, but they do reflect the patterns you're living through. The number 21 carries the energy of closure and completion, urging you to acknowledge how far you've come without rushing into what's next. The number 30 is tied to communication, growth through sharing, and the emergence of new voices, possibly yours. And the number 6 brings you back to harmony, to balance between giving and receiving, doing and being. But perhaps the most important part of this new cycle is the shift in what you're willing to say no to. Because sometimes, the most powerful yes begins with a sacred no. You may find yourself having to walk away from something you once begged for: a job, a relationship, a dream you outgrew. That's not failure. That's refinement. Growth doesn't mean adding more. Sometimes it means editing what no longer resonates. As one teaching suggests, if you release your grasp, what is truly meant for you will never fall away. And what leaves when your grip loosens was never part of your true path. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop choosing what's safe, just because it's familiar? Are you ready to stop settling for something just because it used to matter? You're not being punished for evolving, you're being redirected into alignment. You don't need to force it, chase it, or explain it. You only need to allow it. Comment below if this resonates, and tell me, what are you releasing, not with resentment, but with respect, to make space for what's truly yours? If you're still here, Leo, that tells me something sacred. Your soul is ready. Not just ready for answers or reassurance, but ready to receive. And sometimes, that's the bravest thing we can do: allow ourselves to receive what we once believed we had to earn, fight for, or wait endlessly to deserve. You've walked through layers of letting go, of facing your own shadows with grace, of learning not to chase the light but to remember that you are the light. You don't need to perform for peace. You don't need to shrink for love. You don't need to over-explain your journey to be worthy of joy. This moment is not asking for perfection from you, it's asking for permission. Will you give yourself that? To feel whole, even with pieces in progress. To welcome and love money, clarity, healing without guilt. To trust that the version of you who's emerging now is ready for softness, for truth, for ease that doesn't require exhaustion. If there's one shift I hope this reading has inspired, it's this: a deep internal yes. Not to what others want from you, but to what your spirit has been whispering for so long. That quiet nudge you've ignored? The emotion that caught in your throat while listening? The deep sigh that came when something finally clicked? That's not coincidence. That's alignment. And all you have to do is not turn away this time. So I invite you now, with all the presence in your heart, to ask yourself, what are you ready to stop negotiating about yourself? What part of you has been waiting for permission not from others, but from you to finally come alive? And more than that, what will you choose to release, gently but completely, so that your life has room to breathe in something more true? You can even write it down, here and now, in the comments. Let it be your declaration: I accept love, abundance, and peace without needing permission. You'd be surprised how powerful it is to put that energy into writing. To stop waiting, and start anchoring. And if this video spoke to you, if something inside you softened, or stirred, or stretched open in some small way, I want to thank you, from my heart, for sharing your energy with me. Every comment, every like, every subscription you offer doesn't just support this channel, eternal mindfulness. It deepens the shared space we're building together, a place where awakening isn't rushed, healing isn't judged, and truth is welcomed exactly as it arrives. So as we close this message, remember this: happiness is not a reward waiting at the end of the road. It is a direction. A practice. A willingness to stop abandoning yourself for someone else's definition of worth. Your joy doesn't need permission to begin. You just need to believe you're already enough to receive it. Now let me ask you, one last time, with full honesty and warmth, what are you ready to let go of so you can finally live the life that was meant for you? Leave your answer below. I'll be reading. I'll be listening. And I'll be celebrating every courageous soul who says yes to their light.